Hey everybody, this is your Right Geek, honorary man king and leader of the Awkward Cough Squad, here with another video. Today I'm going to talk about my perspective on how we can save comics. Like everyone else, I've been watching the collapse of the traditional comic book industry with some concern. I love many of these characters, as you well know, and certainly don't want to see them disappear due to people's poor business decisions. And, like everyone else, I've been thinking about how publishers can recover once the shutdown and its accompanying distribution problems have resolved. So, for what it's worth, here are some suggestions from a fan who's just finished reading the complete canon, well, nearly, of one particular Marvel book, and therefore has a sense of how things have changed through time. Note, these are directed at the big two, since the freedom of the independents depends on the health of Marvel and DC. Point number 1, streamline. I hate to say it, but you need to focus on the characters normies know until you can right the ship. Whittle down your books to the most familiar and/or the top sellers. Then focus on increasing the quality of those anchor books to rebuild trust, and therefore enable later experimentation. Characters with movies shouldn't have anemic sales numbers. If they do, you need to switch out the team on the book until you find creators who can connect with the audience. Point number 2, stop the gimmicks. I know folks are going to be tempted to hit us with crazy events to drum up interest, but honestly, I really think Marvel and DC need to resist that temptation. Event fatigue is effing real, y'all. While I was reading all the Bronze Age Iron Man comics, it was so nice that I didn't have to track down a billion event books to absorb everything. On the other hand, Volume 4 eventually became a chore, because I couldn't just read Iron Man without also reading Civil War, World War Hulk, and Secret Invasion, among other things. My plea? Stop. Just stop. Let people focus on one character if they want to. Stop trying to manipulate them into buying everything. And speaking of gimmicks, we don't need loads of variant covers either. If you simply must have variants, just 1 or 2 will suffice. Point number 3, impose stricter editorial control. Right now, everyone seems to be doing whatever the F they want to. They're not all moving in the same direction. On the other hand, back in the Bronze Age, whatever was going on in the Avengers book rarely contradicted what was happening in Tony's own book. And if there was a contradiction, it was adequately explained. Editorial needs to keep track of what's happening across the Marvel and DC universes and ensure everyone is on the same page. The next point, make it easier for noobs to jump in. When I was an Iron Man noob, I just started at the beginning and read everything. That might not be financially feasible for every reader, though, so also make sure new peeps can still follow your story without getting utterly lost. Remember Stan Lee's rule, every comic is someone's first comic. Next, hire people with talent who are excited about the character they've been assigned. Anyone on Iron Man, for example, should know Iron Man canon backwards and forwards, and should genuinely love Tony Stark the way I do. Well, okay, maybe not quite as over the top as that, but you get what I mean. Similarly, Captain America should be written by someone who respects the country he's supposed to represent. I'm tired of the deconstructions, and so are other readers. And finally, ruthlessly enforce standards of professional conduct. Anyone who attacks the fans should be immediately frog-marched out the door. Declare the era of calling fans Nazi-ists and phobes officially over, and accept once and for all that an established IP is not one particular character's property to destroy. If you find sticking to Tony Stark's personality and history, as established in the Silver and Bronze Ages, too constricting, then do something else. Tony Stark is not your personal plaything. He is something much larger. So, listeners, is there anything else I need to add? Please comment below with your suggestions. Thank you for listening, and I'll speak to you again on Thursday.